How does your media product represent particular social groups? As shown, the introduction to my key character Chantel is displayed particularly early. This is done to form relationships between the audience and characters, as this may allow the audience to have greater sympathy. Chantel is introduced as a stereotypical victim in which her murder is not provoked. The use and purpose of the dog is to show how Chantel takes comfort and this she has little self-confidence, as she may appear alert to her surroundings. Chantel is very similar in comparison to other victims of films of similar genre, and she has many similar conventions to these victims. The first character in which Chantel reminds me of is the victim out of the horror film I analysed, which is Scream. The reasoning for this is that both their two characters are clearly isolated and vulnerable. Similarly, both characters are just carrying out everyday activities when they are challenged. Both girls are represented with no escape and they are also powerless, which may be in relation to their gender, as females are represented as being powerless in direct comparison to males. The second character social group Chantel reminds me of is that of the little girl out of the thriller film called The Panic Room. There is similar reasoning behind this, as it is also the stereotypical victims. Victims of thrillers and horrors are killed as and when the killer wishes. The victim is almost played with consistently having hopeless attempts of escape and which has no effect in the outcome of their death. In evaluation, I feel that Chantel is represented as the typical young woman in which appears in horror movies and is conventionally a victim of murder through no fault of her own. I feel I have portrayed her in a very similar way of that of many other horror victims. The identity of Chantel was formed after watching many of other horror films and gathering conventions in which I feel particularly worked well. After researching into victims of death within the contemporary society, I found out that the same characteristics appeared on a regular occurrence. The characteristics consisted of young, pretty, well-educated females who may or may not have children. After evaluating these characteristics, I feel I have also followed this brief.